Hello, my name is James Costa, and my wicked problem is teaching teachers to teach questioning, how to incorporate inquiry-based learning in the history classroom. Inquiry-based learning, or IBL, emphasizes student questioning and the process of seeking knowledge through project-based learning and group problem solving, and it is proven to increase student engagement in the classroom and cultural awareness. I teach history at Xavier High School, an all-boys Jesuit school in New York City. I'm hoping to implement IBL into our history department in both our standard and AP courses. IBL is absent from many schools, and this is a societal issue. According to author Warren Berger, social cues generated by parents, class distinctions, and workplace environments can often discourage questioning. But perhaps the biggest threat to questioning is the classroom itself. Due to strict curricular standards, according to Berger, and I quote, "Our current system of education does not encourage, teach, or in some cases even tolerate questioning." I created a survey for 10 history teachers, 5 from Xavier and 5 from the New York City public school system, to gauge the amount of questioning taught in their classrooms and to evaluate the level by which state, school, or AP curricular standards prevent the use of IBL in their classrooms. I learned that 80% of the teachers questioned use objective-style multiple-choice exams in their history classes. These exams ask students to provide answers rather than ask questions. The teachers identified content recall as the process with which their students present the most frustration. They also noted that asking questions is the least frustrating process for the students in their classroom. Yet 70% of those surveyed said that they do not allow their students to generate either exam questions or essential course questions for each unit of study. Perhaps grading has something to do with that decision. The majority of the participants cited that grading student questions is their most difficult task, if they grade those questions. Note, 0 participants selected content recall as their most difficult process to grade. Thank you, Scantron machine. So to recap our findings so far, teachers cite content recall as the easiest process for them to grade, yet admit that students struggle most with that process. Students struggle less, according to teachers, with asking questions, yet teachers admit that they struggle most with grading those questions. This creates a huge obstacle for teachers that want to stick to their curricular standards while also implementing IBL in their classroom. Research shows that IBL can be viewed as the enemy of a curriculum because student-driven inquiry can conflict with standardized curricular outcomes. Take this example from Xavier High School's freshman history course. The teacher must generate 7 specific outcomes for this unit that a student-driven classroom may not. In addition, because there is no consensus on teaching methodology for IBL, the skills taught in such a classroom will also conflict with the curriculum. The lack of consensus on teaching methodology could be a good thing. One solution to this problem could be using the questioning as thinking framework, also known as QAT. In the QAT framework, teachers first teach students about question-answer relationships. Students identify the type of question being asked based on how they will find its answer. For example, a right there question is a question whose answer is right there in the text that the students are reading. A think and search question might be a question that the student first needs to think about and then figure out where he will need to search for its answer. Again, using an example from Xavier's freshman history curriculum, a teacher can present essential questions from the curriculum to the student and then ask the student to determine the type of question that he or she is reading. Such an assessment could even be done with multiple choice because it's simply the content recall of remembering what type of question the student is faced with. The next step in the QAT framework involves self-questioning. Here, students are presented with learning outcomes, and then they generate questions about how they can achieve that learning outcome. What prior knowledge will they need for the outcome? What necessary additional knowledge will they have to seek? Finally, where and how will they find that knowledge? Using Xavier's curriculum once again, a teacher could use the Students Will Know section of their curriculum and present it to the students. The students will then generate self-questions based on how they will achieve their learning outcomes. Once again, the curriculum and IBL can work together. In addition to the QAT framework, another solution that combines curricular standards with inquiry-based learning is the Read, Write, and Create Videos project. Based on Cinema Veritine, a project-based inquiry experiment described in the Journal of Adolescent and Adult Literacy, this solution asks students to create short documentary films based on the curricular content of their history course. Like any good IBL activity, Cinema Veritine begins with students asking a compelling question about a subject they are studying. Like any good history project, it also asks students to analyze, gather, and synthesize information. Once the documentary is finished, the students can critically and constructively evaluate one another. All of these skills tend to be standards in history curricula. To recap, the benefits of historical movie making are many. Not only does the content and skill often connect to curriculum, but it also incorporates what Punya Mishra and the Deep Play Research Group would call in-discipline learning. That is, learning that combines technology that is appropriate for the history course, but skills that can be appropriate outside of the history course. And like any good IBL activity, it begins with a question. My two suggested solutions show some promise. Going back to my survey, 100% of the participants believe that teaching historical thinking skills to students was the most important aspect of their profession, not strictly adhering to curricular guidelines and not teaching specific historical content. Because my suggestions incorporate all three of those possibilities, I believe there will be a lot of teacher buy-in. And, as it turns out, 80% of the survey participants said they did not feel bound by their curricular standards when it came to incorporating new lessons into the classroom. This is a significant statistic considering the fact that half of the participants teach at New York City public schools, which have much stricter standards than the teachers at Xavier High School, the high school where I want to implement more IBL. Perhaps the best data to support my suggestions comes out of the Pacific Northwest, where 4 schools implemented inquiry-based and project-based learning in half of their AP US government classes. The students in the IBL classes performed better on their AP exams than the students taught by more traditional methods. Such was the inspiration for the video you're about to see, in which I asked my AP Euro students to create a recipe video for the French Revolution.
The marinade for the dish must be prepared, and for that I would recommend a Voltaire and a Jean-Jacques Rousseau. This marinade will go over well as it will be infused in every flavor of the main course. Rousseau should provide a proper base for the taste of the dish, as his beliefs will bring out the important human rights and equality aspects of the French Revolution.
I don't know whether or not my students will score well on their AP Euro exams as a result of that video project. I also don't know whether the research that I've just presented will revolutionize the way history is taught in my school. What I do know is that all of this started with me asking one simple question regarding the purpose of my history curriculum. So what can I do with the knowledge in pursuit of that query? Same thing I tell my students to do with their knowledge: change the world. Thank you.